And we're live.
Oh God, I didn't even realize that. Hi everybody. Nothing's changed with me this year. Like I'm still totally confused when it comes to whenever we go live. I'm always like looking at the actual platform that we're going live on to tell me we're live, and it's always live on Zoom
Yep.
before. So, but anyway, Terry, you look so interested. I'm guessing you're just sharing and promoting the show.
You're absolutely right. That is what I'm doing.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
I guess I should be doing the same. So I hope everybody is having a fabulous 2021 so far. Just enjoy it because, things, it seems like, are getting crazy. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff today. But, let's start with those niceties. Terry Wayne, how was your holiday? Good.
Uh, my holidays were good.
Doing the same. Um,
Uh-huh. Uh, my holidays were good. There's some ups and downs. A lot of people I am close to ended up getting COVID. I'm not going to name any names, but
mhm.
uh, that was troublesome. But the holidays turned out well, and New Year's was good. It's a new year, so say goodbye to the nice "Have a Nice Day" cup. That one's going out. I got a new one for 2020.
Mhm.
And I'm a ray of fucking sunshine, which was given to me on Christmas because people know me. So
I would definitely add that fucking before sunshine.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely add that.
yep.
But well, I mean, it sounds like it was good and bad. No,
No, overall it was good. It's just
you have a good New Year.
it was as good as the holidays in 2020 could be. And I know why you're saying that because we did have a small gathering here, so I did spend New Year's with Miss Flame Girl and a couple other people.
Definitely, it
Yep.
was good. Y'all know what? As pleasant as Terry is, he's a really good host. He's a really good host. I gotta say, like, I tip my hat off to him. Like, if he ever opened a restaurant, I'm there all the time.
I did used to have one, but no, I do love hosting. I like having people over. I like making good food and
Do you,
playing games and
do you
doing that.
like cooking more than comedy?
Do I like cooking more than comedy?
Mm-hmm.
That's like saying, hey, do you like sex or blowjobs? Like it's all part of the same.
Well, no, it's not for me. I like sex and not blowjobs, so I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
Well,
but yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a nice New Year's. I gotta say, I had a nice holiday. I did take some time off work, maybe a little too much now that I'm looking at my finances, but like I had a great birthday. We had a small gathering for my birthday at a restaurant. It was fun. We made it, y'all. We made it. So, but like I said, like I'm still the same. I'm still blaming. I've been blaming all these years and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm happy to have Terry with me here, and we're gonna continue the tradition of having just whoever we fucking feel like it on the show. And
yeah.
this week we have a fun guest, so I can't wait to get to that. I guess we should get to our topics.
Yep.
We've chatted up a little bit too much. No, we haven't. It's only 7:06.
We're fine.
It seemed like
Hey,
we were talking forever.
look, this is our Mar-a-Lago, and we're both Donald Trump. We just
Well,
do
then I wanted to kind of talk about
whatever
the
the fuck
show
we
last
want.
night. I
What's
had a
that?
lot of fun. I said I wanted to talk about the show last night. I
Okay.
get to that. I was in a book show last night at Monroe's, and oh my god, I love that room.
And you had a really good set.
Thank you, Terry. Terry believes I had a really good set. I don't think he'd blow smoke up my ass. So,
No, because I'm a ray of fucking sunshine.
but I had a good set. The other comics had a good set. It was a good night. That Jimmy Schubert's quite funny.
I got a
Um,
lap afterwards. It was awesome.
you what?
I said I got a lap dance off
Oh,
afterwards. It was
you did
awesome.
get a lap dance. Good for you.
Well, I'm not alone, but yeah,
We know you didn't go alone, but
yeah, I
well,
know.
not everybody knows, I guess. But yes,
Wow.
y'all got a lap dance.
Mhm. was exciting.
Yeah, look at that shit-eating grin on your face right now. It seems like it was amazing, but the comics were amazing too, guys. You have to get out to Monroe's on Sunday night. It's a good night, funny, and then you can go to the strip club, and they usually book solid comics. Terry will be on there soon, and we're gonna be having Bobby Mack on here soon. So I look forward to
The
that.
man works too hard, that's the problem.
I know we're gonna have to like record his set, his show before the show, but whatever.
That's right. We'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll move the show to Sunday night. I've been thinking about this, but we'll talk about this off air. Off air.
We'll
Okay,
do the
so
show live in red light.
yeah, that's right. That's red light night. I guess we shouldn't. Okay, anyway, let's get to it. We got a lot of blaming to do, Terry. We were off for 2 weeks. I
I
couldn't
know, I
talk
love it
shit to
so much.
everybody for 2 weeks.
It was so much fun. I had very little work. I did practically nothing. You know, you gotta take that me time. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You
I
know
agree
what?
with that. I did take some me time, like I said, but I'm suffering financially for like I should have been working, but it's fine.
Obviously
So
not enough because look at that hair. You know.
that was I did that. I didn't pay anyone to do that. So
Yeah, I was giving you a chance to showboat there. Somebody done did get their hair did, but
I
no.
did my hair. I did my hair. And you know what? It's great because I don't have to run around before the show fucking thinking, oh, how am I gonna do my hair for the show? Because sometimes I do that because I try to look presentable even though I've been sitting around in my pajamas all day before we do this podcast. So I put on makeup and I do my hair. And now my hair's done.
And see here, I just worked all day like a chump.
I thought you only had one appointment today. You
Uh,
told me you just got up from a nap, so you lying. You
I
lying.
know because they gave me a big appointment at the last minute, so I didn't even know I had it till this morning, which was awesome.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
You know what else was awesome? A Trump supporter on a plane caused everybody to fucking deboard. People think Trump supporters are racist and selfish. Who's to blame? So this lady is on the plane, right? Mask off, like Corona's not a thing. Yelling. They tell her to put her mask on. She refuses. Everybody has to deboard because of this bitch. And on her way out, she tells the flight attendant to have a good day, inward with a hard R.
The worst part about that is that it was two women, and the worst part about it, besides the Trump hats, was the fact that they had masks on. They just said pull them down under their chin, and they refused to put them back up again. And because of that, right?
Mhm.
Because of that, everybody's gonna get off the plane. The cops gotta get called. By the way, they're on the no-fly list now.
Yeah.
So, way to go!
Is it worth
You
it,
really, you
bitches?
really showed them.
God. So the video was posted to TikTok. It was on Frontier Airline. Of course, they were banned from that airline, and now, like Terry says, they're on the no-fly list. Um, it, it- yeah, two women, and that's just like the typical Trump voter to me. It's like that's how they're. That's
I don't.
like a
I
good
don't.
metaphor for the election. You know, that's
I
them.
don't I don't think it is. Here's my philosophy on it, right?
Okay.
Not all Trump supporters are ignorant. Not all Trump supporters are racist. Not all Trump supporters are this or that, but all assholes are Trump supporters. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
no, that's not true either.
no, I think so. I think that there's no racists driving down the street with Biden flags. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't find like a really racist liberal supporter. Like it doesn't exist. You know
Mm,
what I'm you know
No,
what I mean?
I don't. No, because
Okay.
I've been warned against the the liberals as well, you know, like they can also be racist is all I'm saying. Like
I just think Donald Trump is like a magnet for dickheads. That you know what I mean? Like so normal Republican voters or normal people who just think Trump was interesting or thought he had good ideas, or thought he was a good candidate. I
I think
think they got caught up in the mix because every creepy crawly asshole came out of the woodwork, and
look,
those are the
I think
voices.
what
Those are the voices
Terry is
that end up-
trying to say, guys, you like that woman's plane? I think what Terry is trying to say is, Trump supporters they attract the prideful, the arrogant, and then you couple that with the ignorance, and
Yeah.
then you have this. You have people who are just don't give a fuck about COVID, and they act like it's not real, and you cause the whole plane to deboard, asshole. Like
Yeah.
just no consideration for anyone else, but their time and their point that they have to make, and they have to make the point that Trump is their hero and that they don't believe in COVID and that they don't like black people.
I don't think that. I don't think that Trump supporter because you have to be very careful when you're talking all inclusively, when you're saying all people this, all people that, all
Yeah,
Trump.
just like you saying all assholes. No, there are some liberal assholes.
Well, I think you know exactly the kind of person that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of person that is so stubborn they won't put a mask on, even if it means they get ejected from a plane while screaming the N-word at a flight attendant as they get drug off in handcuffs to be put on the no-fly list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really see that as being like a huge Democrat, but that's just me. I think you know exactly who I'm talking.
Yeah, I get it. But and smiling for the camera while you're at it, like the picture, guys. Like she's just smiling. Let me just do a little screen share real quick.
Hey, let the punishment fit the crime, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like being on planes? Well, guess what? You're not going to be on one for quite some time. If ever.
Yeah, you got that screen?
Mm-hmm.
Zoom in there. You see that? Look at that smile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, all the other passengers were waiting in the terminal because they all had to deboard, and then they applauded as the police took her and her friend away. Like,
I feel like they were still smiling as they were being dragged away.
maybe. You know where they're never going to be smiling again? An airplane.
It goes down.
Fly it all you want on the Greyhound.
Yeah, they had to ride the bus. It goes back to you, like what you said, like it's that doubling down. They're just doubling down so hard. Like this is what it's become.
I think it's a mental illness.
Maskless,
Yeah.
fucking inconsiderate, racist, and happy about it. I can't. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
It does get crazier, folks. We're gonna get to the real crazy. Like, oh my God, you're president.
I told you, listen, I told you this before. What people's subconscious, their egos are so embedded with this idea and this philosophy and this person that it would be detrimental to their ego or their super ego to allow themselves to say they were wrong about it. So instead, they're just doubling down on everything. And it's really creating a lot of issues. These things aren't escalating because things are calming down. It's not going to get any better until the man goes on and says things are better.
Yeah.
But
but you
there's
know
plenty
what?
of room on the Greyhound. It's fine.
I would like to see them shout the N-word on the Greyhound.
That's where it belongs. That's where those people belong.
Oh my
They
God.
all belong. We need to get one big Greyhound and just put them and David Duke and everybody else that
The guy who
would carry it.
shouted the N-word and got
party.
hit by the twisted T, he can go on there too, right?
All of them, yeah.
You know
all
what?
of them.
Don't get it twisted. White people have to show restraint with the N-word.
Yeah.
Who's to blame?
Gio's referencing the now infamous Twisted T video. Yeah, I'm not even going to blame that one on white people. I think drunk people are just going to have to learn to watch their mouth, and not even that. Maybe we'll throw toxic masculinity in there as well, because
that was a gross display of toxic masculinity.
you know why that video went viral? Because we all know an asshole like that who, when they get drunk, they get all, why don't you just make me? Why don't you make me? Why don't you N-word? And then it was like cathartic to
Who do you
watch,
think he voted for?
you know?
Yeah. But yeah, so it's crazy. Like if you haven't seen this Twisted Tea video, guys, this guy, he's just belligerently drunk, acting like a skinny white guy, just acting all crazy, very young. And there's racially ambiguous baby black guy next to him, right? And he keeps yelling the N-word, even with the soft A. Like you can't, white people be using that word like crazy, but you can't use it like he did. He was disrespectful with it, and he used it at a black man, or maybe a black man, or maybe not. I don't know. And that dude lost control and popped him with that can.
Yeah.
Of
If
Twisted.
you're gonna drop an N-bomb, do it like I do it. Only in my own home, towards my cat, out of anger. That's it. Just get it out of your system before you go out in the world with the other humans.
I guess if you have to do it, then
I'm
that
just,
would be it.
that's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
it's
If you
not
want to get it off your chest, say it to an animal that doesn't speak English inside of your own home. And then that way you can act right when you go out and with the other
For some
humans.
reason, it just doesn't make it feel like better, you know? Would you say that, like, directed it at an animal?
Well, the funny thing is,
English?
yeah, but he doesn't speak English. So it's no harm, no foul. You show me the victim.
Oh, okay. The victim is, my point is, like, black people have been compared to animals, and
Oh,
a lot of black people that don't speak
yeah,
English.
not
Just saying.
cats. Okay, not cats. Does it help that he's a black cat? No, it doesn't. It doesn't help it at all.
Exactly.
But again, show me the victim.
It don't sit right in my spirit. Just don't say it, white people. Don't say it. Like the soft A is not gonna get you. And it, you know, I will say this. Like it also depends on who you're directing it at. Cause when I see white people call other white people the N-word, I just stay out of it. Like it's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care. But it's just like when you are directing it like this gentleman did, not gentleman, he wasn't, he was an ass.
No, he looks like the poorest guy in the trailer park. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
So the way he was directing this word, like, and he was using it, like, I'd say probably in that video 20 times.
Yeah, like
until he started getting his ass whooped. Because you know, the guy asked him, like, stop saying it, and he just wouldn't. He's like, I don't have to, and he just kept like taunting him, and he
Well, it makes me a proponent. You know, for a long time I didn't think that like corporal punishment worked. I'm like, you can't spank a kid into being right, you know. And then you watch a video like that, and you watch him act out, and then he's getting his ass beat, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like, "All right, man, all right, we're cool."
yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I think corporal punishment works, but only on adults. You know.
I don't know. I have my whole debate on that because I've worked with kids and I was corporally punished as a kid. Like,
So was
I don't
I.
think it always damages you or makes you violent, but maybe.
It's an analogy for a joke, so maybe don't pick it up.
Okay, okay. Like I'm all like deeply analytical today. Okay, sorry.
You've had too much time on your hands. Is the problem.
That's gone. I got to get my ass back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, our democracy, Terry, it's gonna be stolen one day.
Yep.
Who's playing?
We are, because for every day that we, you know, pay more attention to celebrities and reality TV than we ever do to our own political system, the thing that actually governs our lives every day that we give all that fanfare to all those things and none to the things that actually matter, then we're the ones to blame. Because yeah, this presidency's been tough and he's pushed every boundary that he could push to see how far he could push it, and he's still pushing right now. There's tomorrow they're going to try and disrupt the vote to certify the electoral college, which is just another step on that path.
Yeah.
But it isn't going to happen. Democracy is not going to fall tomorrow. Nothing, you know, Rome wasn't burnt in a day. I mean,
no, I say one day, but what we're talking about is just like 11 Senate Republicans say that they will vote for objections against the electoral college results, and that's
And
going
a
to be
lot,
on Wednesday. And it's a protest vote, basically. But I mean, just the fact that they're doing it, and it's even escalated since I prepared for the show. Like I even like I was proud today. I got to say this. Paul Ryan stepped up and was like, "No." I was like, "Paul Ryan, what?"
yeah, why would he? He doesn't care anymore. He stepped down.
Why do these 11 still care? Why is Ted Cruz still out here?
It's
Ted Cruz,
political
he said
bluster.
your dad fucking killed JFK. Why do you
And he
still?
called, and he called your wife ugly.
And he called your wife ugly. Why are you still caping for him? Like, I don't know. Like, this is
Well, because it all depends on how you keep your power. And Ted Cruz, like a lot of other politicians in the House and Senate, they want to keep Trump's base happy. They don't want that mob turning on them.
yeah.
And so, like I said, we're to blame. And anybody who doesn't stand in front of it is also to blame. That's part, I've said it a million times on here. Part of being a democracy means that you're going to lose sometimes. It's just the name of the game. You don't get your way all the time. But there is definitely one particular group of people that I see stomping their foot more than anybody else saying, I want my way all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it'll fall one day. And this is just one stepping stone along the chain that will eventually end in some sort of Aryanism, whether it's, you know, whether it's communism or it's Marxism or it's even, whether it actually becomes authoritarianism. It could one day eventually if we keep kind of callousing over like this isn't a big deal. It's absolutely a big deal, but one
Yeah.
one more step towards it. But we'll probably be dead by then, so don't worry.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully.
I mean, I just feel that way sometimes. Like, hopefully, I'm not around to see like how bad it can really get. But I don't know. This last guy did such a number on our democracy. It's like, well,
He
you know,
didn't, he didn't actually accomplish that much against democracy. It was just the fact that he kept pushing the boundaries to see how far he could go. He kind of showed us that there's cracks in the system that
mhm.
need to be fixed. Like, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what he did. He showed us there's cracks in the system.
Well, yeah, he showed us that, say, for instance, if you're in a state with a heavy Republican state legislator, oh yeah, they can actually just appoint their own electoral voters to vote the way you want to. Oh, well, then why we even have a fucking election then? If we
Yeah,
can just do that, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, Trump won Florida, but if he didn't win Florida, uh, he could have absolutely tapped DeSantis and said, "Hey, can you get some new voters in there for us?" Yeah, I don't care what the people said, just do the other thing. And you know who's to blame on that one? Alexander Hamilton. That's who's to blame. He's the one that came up with the Electoral College because he said that he didn't trust the mass populace of the U.S. and that just in case they voted somebody in like a celebrity, I mean, not the words I'm paraphrasing, like somebody like a populist who didn't know anything about government, that the government could step in and overturn their own vote. So, but now we know it's there, so we can either fix it or live with it until the next Trump comes along, and maybe they'll be Democrat or maybe they'll be Republican, and they'll widen the crack, and then it'll be Russia.
it's just I just thought it would happen like sooner rather than later. And like I say, it's still developing. Like we'll get into some of the stuff that's happened since when we get our guests on. But so another thing that is crazy, like in that just is more of an indicator that the people know our democracy is crumbling. Someone exercised free speech all over Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi's houses. Who's to blame?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the toxic political environment that we've had for the last 5 years. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what's to blame. You know who I'm blaming? Obama again.
Okay, no.
Why did he have to be president and black? Because life has never
You know
been the
who's to blame? They said, Mitch, where's my money, Mitch? And you know what stood out to me about this is that they vandalized his home and they used the wrong version of where's. And I'm like that's America right there. That's America. You got all these uneducated people that are poor, and that's because of the wealth inequality that Mitch McConnell has helped contribute to. Like, and you know what Mitch McConnell had to say about this just fucking blew my mind, because he says, I've fought for free speech and the right to peaceful protest all my life. That's what Mitch McConnell said.
Yeah, not unless he's talking about the filibuster. Then no, he hasn't.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I
It's a
cannot.
stupid
So I
statement.
think it's just like he's even arrogant in this moment. Like, yeah, bitch, your house guy, they hate you. We hate you.
They hate both of them actually, because this
Yeah.
was done prior to the COVID relief package, which is and this should be a look. This
And
should
they
be a
played around with that COVID relief package.
listen. If history hasn't, I mean, if history's taught us anything, it's that the wealthy and the powerful and those in power that we elect to rule over us, essentially, and govern us, they need to realize that the responsibility they have, even though this is a first world country, even though this is American, we say, oh, no violence, use your words, blah, blah, blah. History has taught us you can only push the serfs down so much until they will revolt. And we haven't had a revolt in this country since the Civil War, but another one will come.
That's
100%.
Man, I think it's a sooner than you think. I think it's sooner than you think, because like
Not
this,
sooner than I think, because I think it should have
you're
happened.
like, oh, I hope we'll be dead, but I don't think so. I think it's like right around the corner.
No, I think democracy won't be toppled. We'll just have to overthrow the government and install a new one. And that's it. Because once it becomes so toxic to the point, I mean, look, the income disparity between the wealthiest and the poorest in this country is like 108 times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's insane. That's insane. The wealth being spread to one side of the field and not the other. Then you throw into the fact that you can't go to school unless you have wealth, and then you can't have you can't get proper medical care if you don't have wealth, and then you take all the wealth and you put it over here. I mean,
They brainwash you into believing you're the reason you don't have wealth when they're hoarding.
They say, "Oh yeah, you should just work harder. You should pull yourself up
by the bootstraps."
which is insane. I love when they use that statement, because that statement, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, was a joke that poor people used to make about the rich, saying like, oh, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Then you'll be wealthy. And he said, oh yeah, well, I'm just as likely to do that than to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, which is fucking impossible. So like,
and how the wealthy kind of use it towards us, like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You can, it's America. You can make it anywhere. Well, why you keep?
But it's impossible.
Why do you use communist labor then? If you like Americans like the dream, like use our labor then. You know why? You're greedy. You're greedy.
It would be politically unpopular to take those savings away from those corporations by allowing them to have those jobs overseas in cheaper markets.
Those savings.
They're not going to do what?
Those savings.
Those savings. That's all they do it for. I mean, it's less overhead, which pushes that stock price up. Which
you know what? Whatever. Pay your employees well. That's all I gotta say.
They won't.
You're talking about business. Then pay for our healthcare and education. And
I mean, come on. You're talking about business ethics. All right.
They gotta do one, or like this is why we're at this point where they're putting pigs' heads on these people's lawns. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
And it's because they are guilty of benefiting from this very system, Democrat and Republican alike. So,
which is why it'll keep going until the serfs rise up, and then they'll find out that having all that money doesn't really protect you when there's nowhere for you to go. I'm not talking about me, but that mob works both ways.
Yeah.
And once people feel like their own existence, their only chance at life is kind of being pigeonholed into one direction just so that somebody else can trip the life fantastic, yeah, it ain't going to take very long for them to figure out that they could just take it back by force if they ever really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be careful.
Anyhow.
Be careful with your words. Okay. I think that's about it. That's all we've got on the agenda. We're going to talk about a little bit more with our next guest. Don't you want to introduce her?
I do actually. This is somebody who I've known for quite some time. And just going along with our current trend of not just having comics on, but having police officers on and having drag queens on, and just interesting people that might have a point of view. I'd like to bring on somebody who has an absolute opposite point of view as myself, and definitely opposite point of view of Gio. Everybody welcome my sister, Trinity San Pedro.
Hi.
Trinity.
How are you?
Good. We're excited to have you on. Like, we got someone to argue with. Yay.
It's gonna be
I'm excited to be here.
It's going to be just
I'm
like
not going
Thanksgiving.
to argue though. Maybe slight debate, but not argue.
We'll still make you feel very welcome. Don't worry. You're with family, even Terry excluded. So.
Okay.
Excluded. All right. No, this is just going to be like every holiday at our house, just on camera.
Well, then I'm out.
Now, when I say she's opposite, I mean she's absolutely opposite on most of the things that I believe. Let's start with the obvious.
Well, I think she deserves a proper introduction.
Well, that was a proper introduction, was it not?
What did you say? Did you say what was
You don't even listen when I talk. Why do we do this?
Say it again.
I said you don't even listen when I talk. Why are we even doing
Not
this?
that. So introduce her properly is all.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be polite and make sure our guests are treated well. I know she's your
Well,
sister.
that is your job in the equation. Sure. Yeah, so this is my sister Trinity San Pedro. She is the mother of three, a ardent Trump supporter, a homemaker. Anything else you want to add to that, Trinity?
Nope.
Okay.
That pretty much sums up my life.
Well, see, there you go. I thought I put that down pretty good the first time. So yeah, we definitely argue about politics a lot. As I said, Trinity is an ardent.
Did y'all argue this Christmas about politics?
No, we haven't.
No.
Rule in the
I
house.
had a rule. I had a rule when people came in my house. If you talk about politics, you have to leave.
Okay. That's understandable.
So,
Yeah, and like I said, she's the mother of three, so she'll get on you.
Did Terry have to leave?
no.
Oh, he kept his mouth closed, huh?
Yeah.
It makes for a better holiday.
I know
Sure.
he was excited to spend it with his nephews, or is it niece and nephew? Or
No,
I have-
a niece, but she's a grown woman, so
Okay.
she's 21. It's hard to get excited.
Was it nephews? I thought it was like plural that you said, right?
Two.
I have two sons.
Okay. And then an older daughter, because I remember you said.
Yes. Who's also a Trump supporter. Well, I voted for Trump. I mean, Terry makes it out like I have Trump flags in my front yard. That's not the case. But I did vote for Trump over Biden.
Okay.
So,
Do you support everything that's
And Hillary.
going on now with like the senators that are? Let's go back and revisit some of these claims. So we were
Okay.
talking about the 11 Senate Republicans that they say they're gonna oppose the electoral college results.
Actually, this is something we haven't even talked about yet in real life. So this is actually an area that I definitely want to ask about. Do you think the election was stolen?
do I think it was stolen? Well, I think that there was fraud. Do I think there was enough to change the election? Probably not. But there was actual video and actual real evidence that there was stuff done that was shady. But do I think there's fraud every election? Yes. Do I think there was enough to change it from Trump to Biden? No.
What
Well,
do you
it
think
might
was,
be-
wait, what do you think specifically was done that was fraudulent?
Well, I mean, there was actual video of people tearing up votes and them actually taking video of themselves doing it while they were counting them. So, I mean, there's actual videos of things.
Well, like
It's
I
all
said,
over the
we
internet. I mean,
No.
if you look,
not
there's
all.
actual videos of them counting votes and tearing them up.
Yes.
So, I mean, but like I said,
But like,
okay,
but if they're doing that, that's
but
fine.
like I said, I don't think there was enough for I mean, I don't think there was enough to change the election. And I think there's been fraud. Why do I think people did it? Because they don't like Trump. And
If
do I
people were
think,
gonna- if people were going to try and steal the election, they were going to commit fraud to do it, but they didn't do it enough to change the election, then why do it at all?
well, that's the thing. I don't think necessarily people were trying to, I think individuals counting at the poll workers, actual poll workers who hate Trump that much, just were ripping up because they chose to do it. Do I think it was a collective people saying, oh, let's rip off the election? I don't think that's the case. But I do think individuals who hate Trump that bad, because we all know there's thousands of people who hate Trump that bad. It's not, it's a well-known fact, right? And so there's poll workers out there, and there's videos of poll workers out there. Nobody can deny that fact because there's videos of them. And
I did not hear about people ripping up any valid ballots.
Well, there's
there's another
video of them.
Well, yeah, I know,
But
but video don't make reality. Okay, there's also a video that.
But it's actual, and that's what everyone's talking about. That's what individuals are upset about. Now, what they're talking about, I don't think what Trump's out there fighting against, I don't think is actual valid. I don't think he has a valid call to say, oh, the election was stolen. And I don't think he has a case.
Hang on. I want to say this one thing real quick. So you're telling me, and I just want to make sure I got this clear, that there's a video floating around the internet of poll workers in a monitored polling station tearing up ballots, and people like you have seen it, and yet people in major news organizations are just all collectively ignoring it, even though it'd be
there's multiple,
even though it would be the biggest story in 100 years.
That would be a pretty big
there's
story.
multiple
That's
videos.
a good point that Terry makes. There are people there that are
There was also a video floating around the internet before the election that showed somebody, a poll worker, who had taken a bunch of mail-in ballots, and he was seen in the woods lighting them on fire. Well, it turns out those were photocopies of ballots that he had made specifically so he could float this video around as political inflammatory rhetoric.
Yeah.
Now, do you think there's a possibility that maybe that's what you're saying?
Well, like I said, regardless, like I said, there's multiple videos, but like I said, regardless if it's real or fake, I don't think that it would make a difference anyways. I don't think there's a stolen election.
Voter fraud, there's such a low occurrence of voter fraud. Like I've been telling people that
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna whoop your ass.
I was agreeing with you. You knew this is how it was going to be.
There's been such a low occurrence of voter fraud. Like if you believe in voter fraud, you should definitely believe in Corona. And it's like the people that
I think voter fraud happens, and it's proven that there's a small part of voter fraud that happens every election. It happened last election. It happened during Obama. It happened Bush and Gore.
You're more likely to get Corona than voter fraud. You know what I'm saying? So if you believe in voter fraud, like wear your mask.
Well, I mean, there's no debate wearing your mask. That's just dumb. But it happens every election. I just don't think that there was enough that Trump's going to overturn. And I understand that these people want to fight it. And as far as I know, there's 11 senators. And as far as I heard, there was 140 House members.
Yes. That's
Okay,
right.
well,
So
let
why do
them,
you think they're doing
let
that?
them.
What's the
I
point?
think they just want, hey, maybe they know something that we don't know. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to change anything.
Yeah, I
just don't. I think Biden.
But I think that
Right. If it could change it, would you be okay with it?
I'm just overhearing about it, and I'm just
This is
tired of it.
This is an important one.
Okay, you keep
About
cutting out. So I can't.
It's about
What?
protecting democracy. It's about protecting democracy at this point. Would you be okay with them overturning the election if they could?
Okay, that is it would have to be.
No, the answer is no. Okay, the answer is just no.
Okay, you're gonna let me answer the question,
Okay.
and you're not. Okay, you're gonna let me answer it because I didn't get to speak it.
All right.
That's how I'm gonna answer this real quick.
Getting sassy.
What I was going to say is I'm not okay with them overturning it unless there was beyond hard proof that it was legit. And as of right now, they haven't proven that.
Right, but do you
So
understand that?
unless they objected and said, okay, here's the hard evidence, we're going to show all the American people and prove it, and they were able to prove it to all of us, then I'd be okay with it. But if they couldn't prove it to all of us,
there's no
then I
hope
wouldn't be okay with it.
because
Right now, we haven't.
Well, you realize if there was mass voter fraud, it doesn't mean Trump becomes president. It means we have to have another election.
I completely 100% understand that.
Okay, just making sure.
So,
Gio, you were saying?
No, I mean, I got it out. I just wanted to know why she thought that the 11 senators were trying to object, but she explained that.
You don't think it's maybe political posturing to get Trump's base?
well, it may be.
You're asking her again, but what she said was that she believes, like, well, maybe they have some different evidence, which, we know they don't, because if they had it, they would have come
been
out.
out by now. Yeah.
So,
Right.
but
you know.
while we're on the election and in the subject, I do want to visit what happened today or what has been all over the news today, and that is the president making the 18 calls to the Secretary of State in Georgia and telling him basically that he needs to find these votes, and that the FBI, he's been reported to the FBI basically for doing this, because he's almost like trying to bully these votes out that don't exist. And it almost feels like that's what these senators are trying to do too. Like, they are trying to hijack our democracy. We all know at this point that voter fraud does not occur at a high enough level to overturn the election. And these 11 senators, maybe they even have more of an eye on the Senate than anything, because they're going to lose the Senate if they lose these two senators,
Well, let's just put it right out there, just for anybody listening. National elections are way, way, way too scrutinized to ever be affected on one side or the other with any kind of voter fraud and not be found out. They're under the microscope. They just always are. National elections. But local elections is where you find the most voter fraud. When you're talking about people going into office or not going into office by 100 or 200 votes being the difference, then you can actually make changes. But you can't flip California red without anybody noticing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the voter fraud idea.
But that's the thing about Georgia, is that it's apparently flipped blue, and they've noticed, and they're like, whoa, what? And they don't want to just blame it on bad leadership that we've had the past 4 years. They want to look for something that is not there. They are just they're hijacking our shit, and it's driving me crazy that they can even object like this, like with no basis. It's ridiculous. So
Well, the fact that you can
And then the fact that
country and then go against everything it stands for just to swing popular vote to you is insane, and it should be treasonous.
And then the fact that this guy thinks that he has the right to fucking call secretaries of state when he's involved in litigation. That's why the Secretary of State wouldn't take his call, because they're involved in active litigation with this man. And he bullied them like a fucking stalker into taking his call so he could try to bully them into finding votes that are not there. It's just, this is why I said earlier, to like in the previous blame, like our democracy is going to be stolen if we're not careful. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what this is.
Well, everyone knows that Trump is an arrogant asshole. I mean, everyone, even Trump supporters know that. Even really passionate Trump supporters,
they like him.
People who, you know,
yeah, they like him.
That's the reason why, is 100% the reason why Trump supporters like Trump supporters. I mean, like Trump is because he's an arrogant asshole and won't take anyone's shit. That's why they like him.
And yet I get bend over back. He gets to be president and I get called a dick. All right.
Well, that's because you're a different kind of asshole. But, you know, and it's not like this kind of, now this is going to a bit of extreme, but it's not like we haven't had candidates fighting the results of an election before. It's not like this hasn't happened before, you know, and it's not like we haven't had senators or House members about to do what they're going to do on the 6th. That's happened before too. It's happened 2 other times. So it's not like this hasn't happened in our history. So to act like this happened. It happened in, I can't give you the exact years, but it's happened twice before. And one time it worked and they overturned it. Again, I don't think this is going to work, but it did happen in our country's history. And where people have fought over the election result. It happened in Bush and Gore. I mean, they fought for months over the election.
Like with Bush v. Gore, though, Gore conceded and he actually won.
Eventually. He conceded eventually. And they fought over one state.
I mean, this guy still hasn't conceded. Yeah. So.
Well, no, because he's an arrogant asshole. I mean, everyone knew that if it turned out the way, all of us knew that if it turned out the way it did, he was going to act this way. Everyone knew it. So I don't know.
Don't often follow the law, and we can't have our commander-in-chief not following the law, period. Like, he's,
you know, because everyone was very cautious about the way this election was going to go, only because this is the first time that the voting went the way it did with all of the mail-in voting. That's never happened. Yeah, we've done absentee voting, but this was the first time that we had so many mail-in votes and all of this and it was very different. So we all knew that he was going to do what he did. So I don't know why it's such a shocker that he reacted the way he did. I mean,
in October, he said the only way we can lose this election is if it's fraudulent. That's the only way we can lose this election is if it's rigged.
Well, that's because, and I mean, I understand why he said that. To be perfectly honest, I understand.
Because if you the groundwork to do what he's doing right now.
Can I finish what I was going to say? No. Can I finish what I was going to say? The reason why I think he said that is because if you look at the difference of the rallies, you can say, that man sold out stadiums. And Biden couldn't get anyone. And again, that's his arrogance. He couldn't fill, I mean.
So can Bernie Sanders.
That's Facebook talking. Like, I've never been to a poll.
That's not Facebook. It was
Well,
on the news.
hang on.
See,
I've
but like the thing
never
is,
been to a political rally in my entire life, but I voted every 2 years. Rallies do equal votes. Just
yeah,
the
that's
same
the
way
thing.
that
Remember Ron Paul? Like they were fanatical about this man.
yes,
You
but I
know?
mean,
Never mind.
yeah, and Bernie Sanders used to sell out stadiums too, and he didn't even get a nomination.
Nope.
You know?
Yes, and I think Bernie Sanders should have won over Mr. as lots of people call him Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, don't you think after the last 4 years we could use a little rest? Because I do.
Shut up.
No.
He wants a sleepy. Well, yeah.
I would like a boring president. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
you're
like a boring, do your job
Well,
president.
I mean,
All
I
right,
don't think.
Look, let's move on. Trinity, I want to ask you, since you are a Trump supporter, this is the blame. People think that Trump supporters are racist and selfish. Who's to blame for that? Would you blame Trump?
I think
or-
the people that think that. I think people that think that.
Okay.
I think people do assumptions about people just because of the way they vote.
Well, I mean,
I
like
voted
the
for Trump.
story that I put earlier, the lady did yell the N-word with the hard R at the
Well, I think she's a Karen. I think the hat
Trump
she
hat on.
wore.
She had a Trump hat on, and I've noticed with Trump supporters, and I have friends that are Trump supporters. I have a really good friend that's a Trump supporter, but I tell them this, you know, you're showing me that racism is not a deal breaker for you. Because not only are a lot of his supporters racist and they behave that way, but so is he. And you know, I know me,
Well, I don't.
me and Terry do disagree on this. Terry believes he's just an opportunist, but I'd
don't-
argue that if it's not a fucking deal breaker for you, you're racist. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
he's an egomaniac. I think he will worship whoever
I don't
worships him.
care if it's not a deal breaker for you. You're
I
racist.
mean, what she's basically asking is like, how can you say that a man that is supported by neo-Nazi groups and is supported by David Duke and the Klan, how is it that you can align yourself with them just for a political party?
And a man who has also actively kept black people out of his buildings. You know, a man that's actively tried to build a wall to keep brown people out. Like, I can go on.
Yeah, I don't see. This is
I know he has these little small things like in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, he made a fucking integrated country club because he let Jewish people in. But you know, I'm sorry, he is.
Yeah, but again, if the NAACP came out and
KKK.
support for Trump, he'd love them too. He'd love anybody who loves him because that's what he needs.
No, I know. He's also he's an opportunist first, but I definitely believe deep down he's a racist. He was raised by one. His dad was in the KKK and actively kept black people out. Like we can't ignore that shit. So, my opinion as
Well, I mean,
They bring it down.
it is like, you know, they're racist and selfish. That's the reputation they get, and that is because of all these things we just listed. And then the selfishness comes in with you're gonna have a whole plane deboard because you don't fucking put your mask on. That's his fault too, you know? Don't you agree, Trinity? Like he pushed this maskless shit. He didn't want to wear a mask.
okay. So, first of all, with these people, this woman on this plane, I think she's just a Karen. I don't think her hat has anything to do with her. I mean, so she was wearing a Trump hat. Big freaking deal. I've seen multiple.
It's bad. Don't you think it makes you look bad as a normal person who just voted for Trump? Don't you think that the inmates are running the asylum when it comes to Trump?
No, I think people who don't look for voted for Trump and have so much hate for this man just automatically assume, oh, they've got a Trump hat on. So all Trump supporters and all people that voted for Trump, just because that woman's a bitch and that woman's not following the rules, everybody else is that way. Even though I would give the shirt off my back to help a neighbor. And I voted for Trump.
You know that's
Hold
making you angry though, because that is the brand that they peddle right here. This woman, that's the brand that they peddle. The arrogant.
My father.
Trump is an asshole, you
Stop.
know? She's being an
We don't
asshole.
talk
Trump
about
is just an asshole. My brother's an asshole, and he hates Trump. But that's the thing. My father is an avid Trump supporter, and my father has been to Kenya and built a
right.
school for people. My father has
Stop saying that.
goes to hospitals my whole life and delivered toys to sick children. He's an avid Republican. I mean, huge Republican. So this is the thing. You can't assume somebody is somebody just because of their political party.
Right.
That's the thing. You can't assume somebody is about somebody just because their race, their religion, or their freaking political party. I'm an independent,
Don't
but I go to.
I do feel like, however, it's a safe assumption that
We're getting a little heated here. Hang on just a second.
and
First of all,
selfishness is not a deal breaker for Trump supporters, because it's not. Like you said it yourself earlier, like a lot of them like him because of his arrogance. So
well, we're getting a
selfishness
little heated.
not a
Let's,
deal breaker.
you know,
Even for
First
people
of
that
all-
are not selfish, like your dad, you know?
here,
Well, I voted.
well, first of all, we
This
don't
is
say that.
the thing.
We don't, hang on. First of all, we don't talk about him on here. That's the promise that I made.
Oh well.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We don't do
Well,
that.
I didn't make
So
it
that's
obvious.
first off, hang on. But Trinity, can you understand how people will get a certain idealism from this of watching a bunch of white boys like me, only dumber, walk through the streets of Charlotte screaming Jews will not replace us while wearing Trump hats? Do you see how it kind of gives you a bad look?
Well, I mean, it's just like people assuming if you see a bunch of black boys walk down the street with their pants around their ankles, assuming that they're a bunch of gangsters. You shouldn't assume that either.
Well, the
You
black
can't assume
If they're
something
marching down the street
about
thinking you're a bunch of
to be
gangsters.
black. Wait, the black people cannot choose not to be black. You can choose to disassociate.
No, but I'm
yourself-
talking about what
Wait, no, you
I'm
can
not
choose
talking
to
about them being
disassociate
black.
yourself from ideas like the ones that are peddled by the MAGA Klan these days. You know what I'm saying? You can choose to disassociate. Plenty of Republicans
No,
have
I'm not.
chosen to disassociate, like Mitt Romney. Now, I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney, and I still think Mitt Romney probably has some, closeted arrogance and racism inside, but at least he's willing to disassociate from that. At least Joe Biden, as much as I know Joe Biden's history, is willing to openly disassociate from that. This man, Donald Trump, was not. He when he was asked the question at a debate, he wouldn't even denounce white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So
He's
it's like,
see, this is the thing that drives me crazy. And see, the thing is when Hillary and Trump were running, and it was all the Republicans running, Trump was my last choice on who I would have selected. But
I think
he was my first choice over Hillary.
I think
I didn't want Hillary. I
Wait. That has
I-
nothing to do with what
for
we're
a
talking
rock. No, but I'm getting to what I'm getting to where I'm going. I would have voted for a rock over Hillary. Okay. But so I've never been a huge fan of Trump, but I have watched people say that this man hasn't denounced white supremacy so many times, but I've watched him denounce it over and over and over and over and over, but people still never say he does it. That night at that debate that people talk about.
eventually, but it shouldn't be something that you have to think about.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we
No,
know
he doesn't just
we know there's bad
like
people
that.
we know there's bad people and very fine people on both sides, right? We can agree on that. But again, that's not the question here. The question here is when you have people that are on your team, right? Whether you like them or not, they're on your team, they're sitting on your bench, and they're walking through the streets of Charlottesville holding semi-automatic weapons.
I knew you were going to bring this one up.
I mean, screaming Jews will not replace us. You mentioned the black kids walking down the street. Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't profile and look at them and say, oh, just because you have baggy pants on it means you're a gangster. But that doesn't really equate with this. Now, if they're walking down the street holding semi-automatic weapons with their pants around their ankles, screaming, we are gangsters, then yeah, you can probably use your just justification to say maybe these are bad dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that the majority of Trump supporters are just like my sister here. They're normal people, they're conservatives, and they'd rather vote for any Republican. They'll vote for
I
Kanye
don't
before
disagree
they'll
with you,
ever vote
Jared.
for
I know a lot
Yeah.
of people are very beholden to their parties, and we got to get out
At
of that.
some point,
You can't be
at some
beholden to the
point,
Democrat.
we got to
or the
draw a
Republican.
line in the sand.
Yeah, you gotta have your breaking point with your parties. I only joined the Democrat Party to vote for Bernie Sanders. I'm an independent again now. Like, I don't even want to be a part of a party because I don't want to feel like you're telling me who I need to vote for, because you have people that are like willing to take anything, you know what I'm saying? And
I think she's saying it hurts your cause when you don't speak out openly. When the leader of your party will not speak out openly and say that a bunch of known-chinned white boys scream Jews will not replace us, drives a fucking Dodge Challenger and a group of protesters, and the leader of your party doesn't immediately come out and lay the fucking hammer down saying this isn't the way we
seems like
act.
he doesn't care. It seems like he doesn't care.
But
And he probably
everyone talks about that incident where he said we had fine people on both sides, but they never fully say his full speech. They always, the media, which I hate the media, I despise the media with all passions.
How they're fine people on both sides when one side's white.
No, because that's the media only showed the first part of that speech where he said they were fine people on both sides, except white supremacists that showed up and did the violence. They never finished. And if you look it up on
all chanting Jews will not replace
not all of them.
Then the ones
Not
that
all of them.
there, that wasn't a fucking deal breaker for them. So they're just as guilty. I'm sorry. They're saying you're amongst people that are saying
that's called
not replace us, and you're not a fine people. You're not.
And that's what I'm saying. It's called being complicit.
You got to get out that crowd. If you don't believe that, you got to disassociate yourself from that, or you're going to be racist too. I'm sorry.
I went to an event, and then people started chanting racial slurs, or Jews will not replace us, or any of this shit. As soon as I saw that, you know where I'd be? Not at that event. That's called disassociation. That's saying you guys are going nuts. That same thing happened, as you remember, in 2008 during the birther movement, when I left the Republican Party, specifically because I was like, these bitches are going crazy.
Good old John McCain. Good old John McCain was like, no, ma'am. No, he took the mic from that lady and was like, he's a good man.
And which is exactly why I love John McCain.
I missed that. I thought about voting for John McCain.
I did. I voted for John McCain. I still think John McCain deserved to be president. He spent 3 years in a tiger cage for this country when he didn't have to. He's an American fucking hero. And the first person that says a negative word against him, I'll never vote for him again. So fuck Donald Trump. If nothing else, than his comments about John McCain. That's when I started to hate that man.
Democrats like John McCain.
I love John McCain.
I'm far to the left. Don't get me wrong, but I'm reasonable and I like good people, and I think John McCain was good people.
I think we're all reasonable people, and I think that nothing shows that better than the fact that we had Trinity on here, knowing fully that she disagrees with most of the things that I say and most of the things you say. And I think it says a lot about her that she came on here knowing that she disagrees with everything we say. But this is what it's about. It's about having a general discourse amongst people and average people, which is why I wanted to have her on here, because my sister is an average conservative. She's not crazy.
I'm not a conservative.
Okay, well, whatever. Whatever. An average Trump supporter. That was the point.
I'm an independent, leaning conservative.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pigeonhole you. She's an average Trump supporter, okay? She doesn't drive around with flags on her car. She doesn't go to big rallies. She doesn't have a big tarp in her front yard that says, yay, Trump. You know what I mean? She's just an average one. And I think it's important to have that juxtaposition to what we see in the media all the time, which is just the far, far right of it, which is the ones that make you look bad, just as much as it is the far, far left that says that, that tries to make this utopian society where every trans person is loved equally and every man has to, get a consent form signed before you can have sex together, stuff like that. Like those
man and woman have to get consent.
that whatever. It's the fringe shit that drives us crazy. The fringe left drives the right crazy, and the fringe right drives the left crazy. But in the middle is the majority, which is us. We're the majority.
I'm not in the middle. Don't
Stop
put me
judging each other based off of these fringe elements that are
far
specifically
left.
there to make us crazy.
I'm like far left enough almost to be communist, but I'm not. I believe in a blended economic system. I will say that, but don't put me in the middle. I'm not a moderate, just an independent.
Democratic socialist right here. Anybody who's ever been to Europe knows it's awesome. But anyway, okay, so we're on to the blames.
Blame game.
Huh? I'm sorry.
Wait,
Blame
you know
game.
what?
Here's the blame game.
Wait, no. I still wanted to touch on with Trinity. Trinity, what do you think about these senators' houses being vandalized? Who's to blame for that?
Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, both of their houses got vandalized.
Oh no, I know.
Stop smiling.
I know. Well, it's hard because it's like both of them. It's
Fucking
like,
smile. As soon as I said Pelosi,
it feels like some French shit.
Well, I personally don't like either one of them. I think we need to clean house on the Senate and the House. I think anyone, and I literally had this conversation with my neighbor across the street who happens to be Democrat, and me and her get along very well, and we have conversations all the time. And I said, anyone 65 or older that has been in there in office over 40 years need to leave.
Except I'm sorry.
I know.
Well, no, I think people who've been in there over 40 years, they haven't done it. They're the problem. They need to go.
I don't like that. Bernie.
I think they're to blame.
You think
I think
that
the system needs to blame.
I think people are upset that and people are hurting because of COVID and because of the year that people have suffered financially, hardships, and people are so irritated that these two have gone back and forth over this COVID relief that they shouldn't have had to. The American people should not have had to wait this long for relief from the Senate and the House to come to an agreement. People are just fed up. At first it was Pelosi fighting it and disagreeing and saying, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it, and denying it. And now it's Mitch McConnell, and people are just mad. And so I think they're to blame.
Well, yes, she's right about that. But let's make clear, because we do only factual shit here. Pelosi was digging her heels in because they wanted more relief, and McConnell was fighting for less. And then McConnell wanted less relief.
Yes, but back in September.
Even Donald Trump said he wanted more. So
yes, but back in September, Pelosi denied it. Right. Back in September.
I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree on one thing, which is the worst part, because we got to get going here. We're over an hour already. I think we can all agree that regardless of Democrats, Republicans, House, Senate, the fact of the matter is they all have their masters. They're all slaves to their masters, which is why when the banking system collapsed, they got $700 billion out within a week. And yet we had to wait 8 months for the average people to get help during a fucking pandemic. So you're right. Fuck the House, fuck the Senate, fuck Pelosi,
right.
Fuck McConnell.
And the whole time they're getting their paychecks.
Yes.
And
exactly.
The whole time they have not missed a paycheck. So the American people are pissed. And so it's their fault.
I know. We got it. Okay. So blame game with Trinity. You got anything else, Gio, before I go? All right.
Trinity, do you have any upcoming gigs you want to promote? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't have a gig. Laundry. Laundry.
No, normally what we would suggest is, and we'll do it at the end, but think about something you'd like to promote. Maybe an organization or a cause that you think people should donate to that have a puzzle piece involved in their logo? Think
I
about
already know.
all right.
I already know.
So that's what I'm thinking. But blame game for Trinity. Here we go. I've been working because there's a
I
lot.
already know. I
There's a
already
lot
know
of
what it
things.
is.
There's a lot of things that I could have chosen, but Trinity, you believe in certain aspects of QAnon, a conspiracy theory that was born out of Reddit and 4chan on the internet, and now you believe it to be true. You've gone crazy. Who's to blame?
Terry, we do not treat our guests like that.
Well,
No, we family, girl.
I haven't gone crazy.
All right.
No, because I haven't gone crazy because okay, I'll explain to you because I haven't gone crazy because what I
let me
believe
just say
is
this.
necessary.
Wait, no,
Stop.
Trinity,
Nope.
before you explain, I get to give mine what I think's to blame, and then Terry can say what he thinks to blame, and then you tell us what's actually to blame. So this is who I
Okay.
think to blame.
I was just gonna let her go. We're late.
I blame Michael Flynn. Terry, go.
Michael Flynn is not Q, okay? And Q doesn't
Prove
exist.
it.
Huh?
Prove it.
Because he was in prison while people were tweeting as Q.
Oh, people can't tweet from prison?
Tweeting is
Have
nothing.
you been to prison lately? Okay, shut up, Terry.
I'll
Who
tell
do you
who's to
think to
blame.
blame?
The idiocy of the internet. That's who's to blame. Because I can create an email handle like that, and then I can create a Reddit handle like that, and I can put whatever I want to up there. So all it takes is a smart guy to go, hey, this is something people will go crazy about, and then it just grows like wildfire. It's a viral video in conspiracy theory form. That's all it is.
It's Michael Flynn and that lawyer. Okay, Trinity, you tell us who's actually to blame.
It's not General
Okay.
Michael Flynn.
I knew this was going to be my question,
Of course.
and I'm not crazy, and I'm
I didn't
not to
say that.
blame. No one's to blame because what I believe isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. There's proven things. What I believe is there is a human trafficking problem globally, and there's powerful people that are involved. That's what I believe. It's been, hello.
The question is,
Now-
are you
Hello,
ready
what?
to go storming the pizza parlor to,
No.
That I don't know. That's weird.
Hello. What is the evidence?
All I've ever said to Terry that took him off on this QAnon thing is that I believe that there are powerful people involved in human trafficking.
probably, yeah.
They either politicians, people in other countries, anything. They're either involved or they know about it, and they're keeping it. It's a $1 billion industry that globally.
Jeffrey
Globally.
and a prince. That's all I gotta say. You're not
Right.
lying. Like,
Right.
yeah,
And
I believe in it, but I think QAnon's taking it a little far, you know?
It's
Yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Hanks.
Okay, just for
Yeah. I agree.
okay, just for instance, okay, there was a Paul Peterson who was a Republican in Arizona that was arrested in 2019 for having a pregnancy ring. You can look it up, that he was holding pregnant girls until they gave birth and then putting their babies up for adoption and selling their babies to adoption agencies. Look it up.
Okay.
Paul, his name is Paul Peterson.
That sounds profitable.
Republican,
That's not going to be like the linchpin that makes it all.
but that's human trafficking. That's human trafficking.
Definitely
I-
defined as human trafficking.
Look,
So
human
I don't
trafficking.
understand.
I
how
lean
this
more
is
towards
going
the
on.
Jeffrey Epstein and, you know, his close friends, like the prince,
Right.
like Donald Trump,
but they
You
didn't-
know,
and like Bill Clinton, you know? Those were,
Robert Kraft. We all know that he was arrested.
but he just got
And,
a
You
rub
got
and
a rub and tug. Holy crap! Who cares?
Those are very,
But the women in that parlor
they were
were
trafficked.
human trafficked.
She ain't lying, she right.
Yeah, well,
I
that's how
mean-
it happens normally.
And
Is
guess
they
what?
Prince Andrew.
Not only were they trafficked, but guess who the owner was linked to? Our president.
Prince Andrew. I
No,
mean, come on now.
Donald Trump.
4 million victims globally. a year. I mean, it's a big industry. And so if you don't think there's powerful people involved, you're just dumb.
No,
It's not like it's a conspiracy theory.
no,
Most
It's-
trafficking rings are done based on immigration, and they're done, like you said, a lot of the Asian massage centers that you can find at every strip mall in South Florida. Yeah, a lot of those are actually run by
It's not
criminal.
just
They're run by criminal organizations in China who bring these women over here, control them, seize their passports, and make them work off their debt for getting over here, which is usually an exorbitant amount. That's a pretty standard, yeah, but we also fight against that. So,
I know we do, but
Yeah, but-
14 to 17,000 people just in the US. It's not just international. Oh, I came prepared for you tonight, Terry. I knew this was going to be the question.
okay, that's
14 to
fine.
17,000 women, mainly women and children, but also males
Mhm.
in the US are sex trafficked every year. Most of them come from runaways. They end up getting sex trafficked every year in the US.
You know
Yeah.
why?
So it's a big,
Hang on, wait,
that's
she gave me numbers, so I
hold
gotta,
on. That's just
What-
look it up.
that's an easy fallback. You know,
No,
like anybody can fall back to
22,000
sex when you need money. Men,
Yeah,
women.
but I'm just saying 22,000 people also die of
I
lightning.
said 14.
I know, I'm telling you something now. 22,000 people on average die every year in the US of lightning strikes. But we don't create theories that say there's a secret cabal in the clouds.
I
killing
didn't
people
say,
with
did I say anything about cabal? All I said,
That's
all
what
I said,
you said
you're
rich
the one that brought it, QAnon. All I said is that there's powerful people that either know about it or help running this human trafficking issue. They either know about it and are keeping it hidden because it's a $1 billion business, $150 billion business. Look it up. It's on freaking Google it.
I'll Google it. I'll give it
Just look up human trafficking.
There's no
You'll get all the statistics.
trafficking. There's rich and powerful criminals that are involved in human trafficking. But no, I don't think politicians or celebrities involved. Is Tom Hanks a pedophile? Go
So
on
you
record.
okay?
No, I
So
believe
let me
that,
Go on
let me
record.
ask
Is
you
Tom
this.
Hanks a pedophile?
You don't think?
you don't think Harvey Weinstein trafficked?
Let me ask you this question.
You don't talk about Forrest
So
Gump like
you don't think? You don't. I didn't. You don't think people that are in politics or people that are celebrities, not all of them are innocent human beings, and none of them ever do anything wrong?
No, I think the crooked is the
Really?
day
Some of them have been caught with prostitutions and underage children. Really? None of them have done anything wrong or criminal.
Oh, they absolutely have, but it's usually about corruption.
Okay, then why can't you put it in your brain, because you just want to argue with me, that some of them may know about this $1 billion business and get a little money on the side to keep their mouth shut? I mean, come on. It ain't that really far-fetched.
Because there's a big difference. There's a big difference between taking a little side bump of stock. There's a big difference between taking a little side bump of stock to give one particular arms manufacturer a contract over another, and then you getting involved in a direct criminal organization. How long do you think that would honestly last, given the kind of scrutiny that these people are under on a daily basis?
Well, ask Paul Peterson. He was a politician.
And he got arrested.
Right. He
That's the
finally got
point.
arrested. He
That's
finally got arrested.
That's the point.
He
How
was
long
doing
do
it
you
for
think they can
years.
go without getting arrested?
And I'm not just saying just in our country. I think people in other countries, big wigs, big politicians in other
that's
countries.
More likely. That's more likely than this one.
And I think in this country too.
Well, yeah, if you go to some of the Eastern European countries where basically it's totalitarianism, where one guy runs everything, yeah, it's a lot easier to get away with that kind of shit. But here in the good old
Yeah,
Star,
I think in Europe.
hey, here in the good old stars and stripes, right? It doesn't really work that way. And it doesn't work that way in Europe either because of one thing. And that's that thing that you hate, which is called the media. They're constantly digging around, trying to find dirt on everybody. If there was a cabal of people in power that were getting away with all this shit, trust me, some hungry little news hound is going to break the story. It's just what
Oh,
happens.
okay. Whatever you say.
All right, well,
You
good.
know.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that with the QAnon bullshit. Gio, you got anything else to add before we go into my editorial here?
I do not.
Okay. Well, this week I had to think about it for a while. I had this whole thing on healthcare that I was going to do, but I want instead, because of incidents that happened today to me, I just want to speak from the heart and talk about fear. That's what I want to talk about in 2021, because 2020 was all about fear. It was about fear of the election being stolen. It was about fear of the pandemic. It was about fear of Australia being on fire. It was fear about global warming. It was just fear, 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 fear. And it was constantly pumped into us. And it's one of our most strongest primal emotions that we have. It can make us do things we never thought we'd do, or it can make us become things we never thought we could become, in good ways and bad. It's a very powerful emotion. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I went to the home of an elderly woman that had died of COVID today to do an inspection. And I noticed that as I went to every door, there was 3 locks on every door, a deadbolt, a pin lock, and then there was a foot stomp lock that goes into the concrete. And that was on every single door. There was 2 locks on every single window. There was 3 locks on every single sliding glass door. This woman lived in fear, all right? She lived in fear of other people. But at the end of the day, that's not what killed her. What killed her was a little microscopic organism that got into her body. So when we think about fear, we have to think about how it actually affects the way we think about things in a daily life. We have to be rational and logical. You know, we'll spend almost $1 trillion this year, according to the latest budget that they put out. We'll spend almost $1 trillion on military defense. Now, that's to support the greatest military might that humankind has ever known. Without a question, it's not even close. We're more powerful than the next 10 nations behind us combined. And yet we're still spending $1 trillion every year on military defense out of fear. Meanwhile, our citizens are the only one in any first world nation on the planet that does not have some form of universal health care, even though terrorism kills less than 1,000 people every year, but heart disease kills almost 750,000. So who do you really have to fear here? Do you have to fear some brown person halfway around the world that hates you because of your ideology? Or do you have to fear your own stupid heart giving up on you because you haven't been to a doctor in 15 years?
You sound like you're about
What do you really have to fear in life? Just stop and think about that. What are the real threats that are coming after you? We don't have to worry about sharks, okay? It's not the sharks that do it. It's the box jellyfish that kill 1,000 times more people every year than sharks do. And yet we never talk about that. But if you see that fin in the water, why? Why do we feel that way about sharks? Jaws. That's
I'm
why.
more scared of sharks than jellyfish.
But here's the thing. The reason that we feel that way is because of Jaws and every other shark movie that came out that shows these ferocious creatures coming out of the sea, and they're coming out to get you. And that's the exact same way that our own media and our own brains think about other things just like that. So every time we see, a suicide bomber that was willing to die so he could blow up a movie theater in Tel Aviv, that's crazy. That's a shark jumping out of the water, but we don't have to be afraid of that. It's the box jellyfish of the fact that you haven't been to a doctor in 15 years. That's the one that's really going to kill you. So maybe just stop and think every time you get afraid about what you really need to be afraid about. Okay? That's it. Don't let fear rule your lives. It's a new year. It's a new day. We got a new president. We got a new administration. And you know what? Let's just all agree to stop being so goddamn afraid. We're Americans. This is the home of the free and the proud. All right? This is what we're supposed to be. We were always the courageous ones. So let's be courageous and stop being afraid of every little fucking thing that the news tells us we should be. That's it.
Well, thank you, Terry Wayne. I think
Terry,
that
you just sounded like a Republican.
Whatever.
and I gotta say,
Not
I don't
these
think that's
days.
just words for white people. I think that's words for people. You know,
It is. It's words for
live
everybody.
in fear. My mom is like that. My mom fucking, ooh, she's living so much fear. But you're right. Like people need to relax and
This is life. You're never going to get out
I
of
gotta say, I was like, oh, he's gonna have a panic attack. He's talking about heart attacks again. Because I know.
Oh.
So.
Trinity, do you have anything that you support? Since you don't have any gigs or anything, is there anything that you have to support, or maybe you think people should donate their time or money to?
I think people should donate their time and money to Autism Speaks. It
There we go.
greatly affects my family because I have a 11-year-old son who's autistic. So
Yep. I love turkey tits.
What?
Nothing.
No,
Inside-
inside
inside
joke.
joke.
You can't just do that. You gotta.
All right. Well, that feels like a good place to ramp it down, guys. Thanks for viewing. Gio, what do you got coming up?
I don't have anything coming up. I may hit a couple of
You
mics
just said you had
tomorrow.
something on the 24th.
Yeah, but it's the 24th. I got time to. I mean, so I'm in a show, a new open mic. There's going to be a showcase before it, but it's at Hullabaloo. And it's on the 25th of January. So I am looking forward to that. I'm actually, if you know, the 25th of January, and it's actually a Monday. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to do the show that night. We may stream there. We may have a guest host, but we'll keep you posted on that. That's all I got. Terry, you got anything?
I got a new cooking channel coming out on YouTube. It's TBD right now, but it'll be out just as quickly as I can. I got a lot of balls in the air.
You want to
but-
watch this shit because this nigga can cook. I'll tell you right.
Hey, that's offensive. It's this cracker can cook. Please, let's keep it above board.
Oh no, that's what makes it offensive is when you're like, oh, only black people can be niggas. No, you a nigga, like I said.
Does that mean I got to say it now?
Nope. Where's my
All right,
Twitch?
I'll keep you guys informed on that. We've already started shooting. The videos are coming out soon as I can get down to edit them. But other than that, we'll see you back here again next Monday at 7 p.m. with a different ghost, with a different guest who will, at this point, who knows? Maybe it'll be a fireman or a soldier. Or a
Even
homeless
the
guy.
ghost, like I think we would break records.
Yeah, I know. We should, yeah, who knows who we're going to have on here next. But that's it for me. I'm spent. I need a nap.
You just got up.
I know. It's crazy. Lazy white people.
You relaxing too hard.
Yeah, well, that's.
I gotta say, I am ready to go eat dinner. I'm starving.
Yeah.
Trinity, thank you.
Thank my
so
guest, Trinity, San
Yeah.
Pedro, my lovely sister, who I'm sure I'll get a few texts from tonight.
Thanks for agreeing to
No.
do this. Like we really appreciate
I'm gonna go eat too.
Oh, okay, good. I'm
always
sorry.
I made-
starving by the end of this show.
I made dinner for my family and then came in here while they ate. So now I'm gonna go eat.
See
Aw.
that? Making sacrifices.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Bye, Trinity. It's good to meet you.